Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Well, that might have
Down in the
affected
downstairs area.
It depends if it's a party or not.
That's right. I mean, learned a long time ago, you don't assume when you're in front of a board like this.
Well, I was trying to cue us up for
Nice
party
words.
mode and.
Well, I'm giving tours no matter what, so there you go.
I'm just not here to cause problems, I'm just here to sit here and be my.
Okay. So, well, welcome. Got a crowd today. It is Tuesday, February 10th, 2026. I'd like to call this Board of Education study session to order. It is 5:31 PM.
Beers? Here. King? Here. Lynch? Here. McHugh? Here. North?
Here. We have an amendment to the agenda.
Oh, I would like to amend the agenda upon approval, and that would be to strike D3 from the agenda.
Can I just say a second?
I'll second.
All right, Beers?
Yes.
King?
Yes.
Lynch?
Yes.
McHugh? Yes.
Yes. Do we have any public comment? Einar has his own space on the agenda. so.
Yes. Good for your words on it.
Oh, he was hiding until the last few weeks.
I'll put that.
Agenda nothing.
Well, there's a few things going on in the last few weeks here. I attended the Lookout Mountain Water District meeting on Thursday, January 29th. And I shared, I think, the viewpoint of most of the people in this room regarding their decision not to abide by their ballot measure to install a water storage facility here at the middle school, high school. And I was interviewed prior to that by CBS Colorado for their segment in the news, which was released last week. So if you haven't had a chance to watch it, it's a kind of great overview of the situation we're facing. And they were also there at the board meeting filming the public comments and the board presentation. So I'm pleased. They've now invited a few of us to join them for a table talk with which they have an agenda that they want to present to us. So we're going to join them and discuss what their proposal is about how they're going to provide water to the high school in case of a fire emergency. I think they're going to take a perspective on our system, and we're ready to address that. We're going to have some folks from the board join me, and we're going to try to have our facility director join us, Aaron, and hopefully the fire marshal from Evergreen Fire will join us, John, to let them just to talk about the impact of their decision. As I mentioned earlier, when the commissioners were in the room, the fire hydrants in front of the building are not per se for the high school only, they're for fire service to use that to either put a fire out here or in the greater community. And with their decision to shut off the water to the high school, middle school, high school for fire protection would also impact the fire district too and their access to water. So it's important that we have our partners with the Evergreen Fire Department join us for that conversation, so they can also share their concerns about the loss of that access to water too.
I do think that the commissioner's point about having Chief Ouija there is a good one,
Okay,
especially if they were misquoting him
right.
in the documents.
Are they going to invite him themselves or
I didn't see him on the communications.
as far as fire district?
Was John even on it?
John wasn't either.
John wasn't either, so, but they had
Maybe
made
it's worth a
mention
message.
of,
Right.
those folks, so I would think that we could invite Louis Black on that.
All right. And then Loveland Ski Pass. So we had a request for folks who are part-time employees to have access to the ski pass. So we've got a trial basis of allowing staff members who have flexibility in their schedule to check out the ski pass, and we'll see how that works. We're optimistic, so hopefully it helps out.
I think that's great.
And especially folks who want to work at our district may encourage you to come here because of that. So, Grant, we applied through, the state and we were informed, on January 31st that we will move forward with developing a strategic plan for the school district, which will entail us taking constituents from students to staff, to school leadership, to district leadership, to our community members, to the Board of Education, to anybody who wants to be part of our process. Will have insight or input into the plan we'll be putting forward. We'll be mainly working on this in the fall to roll this out, and hopefully it'll help guide everything we do as far as does it fall within the focus of the strategic plan. So we're helpful in our support program. Let's see, we met last week with the Elevated Health Community Advisory Council to start the conversation with folks who volunteer to be on the committee on what services will we provide in our district for our students and staff initially, where we'll be located, what services, or what would you need for the spaces allocated. So we're really excited about that. We just had an initial overview, and we'll start digging deeper into what services will be a priority for programming. I'm hearing a little bit about dental is really a need in this community, so that may be one of the first things we do, but we'll see what we can do in addition to that.
The gentleman that you've been corresponding with questions, thank you for getting that out. And I think he has some really good questions, but I would like to state that any of his concerns are absolutely not my concern.
Right.
I don't see them as being a concern.
Thank you for saying.
Yeah, and I would like to point out that George is the one that put me in contact with them so that we could meet together.
Yeah.
So I don't think that it's a county concern that we have more access to healthcare, which seems to be a big question.
Yeah.
He's like, no, we need more access.
Right.
Our families need fewer hurdles, and anytime we can help a family, just get a checkup right there in the building without having to go, spend an hour to get down the hill and back.
Right.
It just puts our kids in the building longer and able to be better available to learn, so.
And the great thing about Elevated Community Health is they're willing to partner with Precision 1220, JCMH, Mental Health Services.
They have a grant writing team.
They do, and they also work with the new clinic in Idaho Springs. So they're really willing to work in the health department to see what we can do to provide supports, because maybe one has better access to resources than community health can, and so that they'll pick up another part of it. They said, we want to partner with whoever we can to bring the services into the school or for the students who need it and the staff who need it. So I'm looking forward to it.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Sure. Last week I also hosted a data camp with the principals. We looked at our mid-year data, so I'm looking forward to presenting that to you all in the upcoming meeting. So you get a sense of how our students are performing on the assessments. And all the principals did a presentation last week, whether it was on Friday or after school, to staff about where we are mid-year wise on our data, and we'll continue those conversations as we dig deeper into the needs of our students and how we as educators can get where they are and help them get across the finish line.
Thank you for that.
Sure.
If we don't know where we are, we don't know where we're going, so thank you so much.
Yeah.
Not joking, I'm so excited. Take that.
Right.
Do you have a way to transition some of this information to the school board?
I'm gonna do a presentation. Yeah, I gave you a sampling of the district level, which is really high level. We'll talk about schools and opportunities. I have to be very careful. We're a very small district and we only have one teacher teach this grade level. And so we have to be I'm gonna be very careful in sharing that, but I wanna make sure that it's a system, you're aware where opportunities are in our district. And I will tell you, principals just dived into it. It's like, oh, I know exactly what to do here. One of the things that stood out for us, I think it's a situation we're facing across this country, is students reading. I was thinking about myself reflecting as we were having this conversation, it's like we are not reading as much as we need to do, and that's a concern. And we need to continue to figure out how do we provide those opportunities in our classrooms so that we
You know what we
can.
need to do? Summer reading program where you can earn a personal sized Pizza Hut pizza.
Someone's hungry.
No, that's what I did when I was a kid.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
That's so great.
We need to make it bigger.
We're on a team, we're gonna do
The
this.
library does ice cream.
I was gonna say, the library
Well,
district
yes.
does a pretty awesome program.
Yeah,
They
really
have
do.
a lot of activities.
I just can't always go to the library.
What?
Do it on an app.
During the summer,
What?
Georgetown would
They'll
just
come
send
to you,
our
they'll
kids.
bring books to you.
No judgment here.
I will bring books to you.
I think if we made it bigger and more school-wide
I love the
and
idea.
funner.
Yeah.
Not funner, but
I'm like,
Right.
let's collaborate.
Yeah.
They've already got a good base. Let's
we
make
just,
it even more exciting.
We also have
You know, I'm curious, I'm a Rotarian, and I don't know if we do the books for little ones that parents read to their students. So
Different than the Dolly Parton?
it's the same as the other part.
Oh, then yes.
Okay, I need to dig
But
into that
I
more.
think we
need to
can
get books
always
in
do more.
hands
never
of
enough.
parents to read to their kids too.
Yeah.
It helps that,
Yeah.
that structure too.
you know, last year at the Scholastic Book Fair, there was somebody that actually helped me set up the Dolly Parton book program because I could not figure it out on my own and I didn't have the time to do it.
Yeah.
And so that was really nice.
So we need to get information about, that's what I was wondering. I
Yeah.
haven't heard people talk about that. I was like, it's information given out to new families like preschool and kindergarten to say, hey, take a look, it's free.
Yeah, somebody literally took my information and did it for me. It was great.
Once they turn 5, it cuts off.
Yes,
Yes.
the ECE
Yeah,
and
so-
preschool would be a great.
Right, it's really for that parent-student engagement.
Yeah.
Who was
Were they?
Sign up?
heavily passing out the Dolly Parton stuff.
Okay.
Is that something we could add to the board as a liaison to try and help coordinate so that we're representatives at these different things? Does that make sense?
That's a great idea. Or just make an initiative
Mhm.
There you
of
go.
increasing reading.
Yeah.
All right, so apparently there was a windstorm in December. Yeah.
I think we sat here.
Right, and, this building took the brunt of it, as we found out.
And so when we were worried about being hurt while we were
Right.
sitting there, it was real.
Right, so we were having the board meetings, we heard doors, it sounded like slamming of doors and everything, it was the wind hitting the building, so, we have extensive amount of repairs that need to be happening to roof, to fencing. We're now, dealing with the baseball field with practices starting on, February 23rd. The infield's in the outfield now, so we gotta bring the outfield back, or the infield back into the infield on this beautiful new field that we just finished this summer. So, so we're doing a bunch of projects with that. We've got King Murphy has some siding that needs to be fixed. The maintenance and transportation building has a door that's broken because it got swung open by the wind. So there's little things here and there, a little bit, there was some roof damage to Carlson, little dents here and there that need to be. I think they were repaired and they're taking care of that. So, so yeah, fortunately our insurance is covering it. The cost is way more than what we're paying for our deductibles, so we're very pleased by that. And so I think there's some tractors in the back parking lot right now getting ready to take care of the field because the need to get that done before, and plus the weather. Weather is such a touchy thing this time of year. Playing baseball in snow is always a challenge. So, so I think that is it for my updates for right
Thank you.
now. Yeah.
Well, last week I spent the week in each of our school buildings. It was really a gift to be present during the day, to see all the learning happening, to walk the halls, sit in rooms, speak to people. So I started at GCS on Monday, went to Carlson on Tuesday, King Murphy on Wednesday, and finished in this building on Thursday. What I heard from educators across all roles and experience levels included employees in both our certified and classified groups. And I want to share some themes that emerged. So educator voice and recognition. I heard from certified educators who expressed concern about losing their voice and recognition. Many shared that their concern was not limited to salary, but includes other aspects, including professional expectations, time, protections that matter really just deeply to them. I also heard from classified staff. One employee shared that they had chosen to leave the association because they did not feel recognized and described feeling uncomfortable being pressured to explain that decision. Another classified staff member shared that she was not certain about whether they had seen the information related to the proposed wage increases, but still expressed support for the ability for employees to organize. I also heard clearly from certified educators who emphasized that we must continue to find ways to improve classified staff wages. So that was, yes. But yeah, that was shared more than once. Another theme was dignity, agency, and trust. And this was one of the hardest things to hear. That they were feeling, or this was expressed by several employees, that their dignity, voice, and agency had been taken from them. And I want to say clearly that that is not the intention of this board. When we hear that perception, it tells us we need to slow down, listen more carefully, and work together to rebuild trust.
I would say, I would disagree with you. I would say that if they feel that way, then it's also our fault and our problem that we did not get the words out correctly to explain what was going on to make them feel that way. That's us, that's on us. We left it up to them to make up the ideas.
Sorry.
I feel very strongly about that.
So I think we all recognize that education is being deprioritized at many levels that are extend beyond our district. And that makes it even more important that we work collaboratively here as a community to support one another and our students. Another was context and responsibility. So I heard questions and concerns about the board's actions related to recognition and representation. I want to acknowledge that these decisions did not occur in a vacuum. The prior board articulated a rationale rooted in governance, participation, and representation. And it is important for us as a current board to understand that what the context was, while also listening to how those decisions are being experienced now. No matter where individuals fall on these issues, it's clear that employees want to be heard and they want clarity, stability, and respect. There was a suggestion for how they might provide input. They suggested perhaps there was a way for us to create some communication feedback loops. So whether it's to improve access to information or the methods that for them to provide input. So I've talked with Lori about some of those options, the questions and suggestions that were offered. So creating a space much like our feedback for policy, that they could say, hey, I see a place where we might be able to save over here because this seems redundant or wasteful, but who better to hear from than the boots on the ground. Finally, I want to acknowledge that the reality is that we are unlikely to see additional state funding this year, which means enrollment remains our most important levers that we have. I am grateful for the interest of those working together in our long-range planning, the enrollment task force, the DAC, because they're all asking the same questions. How do we just invite more people? Remind people that Clear Creek is here and that we're doing amazing things. So I will be traveling for part of March, so I won't be able to do those visits next month, but I hope if I have your permission, I'd like to do it again in April and just kind of touch base again. And it doesn't have to be me. Any of you can certainly get into the buildings and have some opportunity. Carrie Ann joined me this month, so did Nicole. Did you have anything that you guys would like to share that you saw?
I don't think that the koi are getting big enough in the aquaponics. I'm a little concerned.
Are there just too many in the space?
Well, they're babies right now.
They're just not-
And like, I'm worried that they're actually not nitrogening enough.
Okay.
But they're really working on it. Yeah,
That's
no, I
amazing.
mean, I love Georgetown. Any opportunity I can go by and hang out with Georgetown, it's all good.
I was excited that we had basically back-to-back visitors, with not just one viewpoint, but lots of viewpoints. You know, some of the themes were similar, like you touched on, but it was nice to know that they are aligned in some areas and still looking for different progress in other areas. So I think hearing those voices is helpful to know how we can support them.
Yeah.
As a whole, yeah.
Yeah, one thing I didn't lift up, you were in on the conversation, was that sometimes we act like a big district, and then we expect everybody to act like we're in a small district, so. I was like, huh. So I'm still kind of thinking on that, be like, what does that look like?
It was nice just to have a conversation and a little bit of back and forth
Yeah.
versus here where public comment and then we talk,
Yeah.
or we could interact.
Yeah.
That was, I think, a great experience, and I hope the teachers and staff will continue to come.
Thank you.
Did we have any legislative updates?
Oh, sorry.
I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything we want to testify at.
I was just
Poor
wondering.
Ryder, he thought he was gonna get there.
So, first one I want to point out is that I did go to K-State of the Capitol and share with our legislators our concerns regarding the specific tax, ownership tax, which is a tax that individuals pay for registering their car, and we get a portion of that as well as the county. And the state has, the governor's office has stated that they want to redistribute those funds, and so they want to collect those funds at the state level and then redistribute them to how they determine when to be sent out. I talked to several legislators, they do not support that, and they don't support anything that would take money away from our schools. So we'll see if we can hold them to their word regarding not voting for the removal of SOT tax or the specific ownership tax from our school districts. We're fortunate to have Dylan Roberts, our state legislator, joining us at Carlson Elementary on Tuesday, February 12th or 17th. He's going to come out and visit, meet with Lorraine and I, and walk through classrooms and just talk about how great Carlson Elementary is, the work they're doing, just amazing things happening with staff and leadership there. So we're going to do that, and then I have a luncheon coming up with Leslie here a week or so to meet with her at the Capitol and just really talk to her about the needs of our district. When we talked the day at Capitol, we were during lunch, and she says, I really, really want to sit down and really talk to you. So we're going to take a chance to have lunch together and talk about things. Right now, the Capitol has been spending the last 2 weeks really talking about budgeting, which just seems to be the real issue facing our states. There are some. Well, I'll finish in a second here. Just starting.
I think she's done.
So bills that are coming up are House Bill 26-1050, optional readiness plans for students who meet proficiency. The bill targets the workload reduction that maintains strong expectations and preserves focus supports for students who need them. Senate Bill 26019, early childhood local system consolidation. District leaders have raised concerns about this related to capacity, system staffing, funding, and the proposal for implementation timeline. Case is actively engaged in potential amendments and delay options. House Bill 26-1027, BOCES eligibility and executive director provisions. The bill addresses BOCES eligibility allows certain retirees to serve as executive directors, which we're basing here in our Blue Sky BOCES, that they can continue through the retirement process doing a 110 to maintain some consistency of support. And I talked about the specific ownership tax. The big one that's really worrisome is the voucher. The federal government put out the voucher program, and our governor has agreed that he will sign on to that. And so in the document I share with you all, there are links in there if you want to dig deeper into what that it will impact. But I will tell you that Case and I believe CASB are both working together. I bet you CEA is part of this too, to stop if we can, or to make sure whoever becomes the governor, we can encourage them to decline the voucher funding moving forward.
On that, at the federal level, like the CASB at the federal level is working to see if just public schools could be considered one of these units so that we could also participate in that additional funding. But I don't think it's necessarily go anywhere in our favor, so.
Right.
But yeah, they're definitely against.
Right. And with all the incidents that occurred in Minneapolis and Minnesota, there are some advocacy for making sure that ICE agents wear body camera. Also looking at the fact, are we going to bar them for entering our schools, our hospitals, and churches in their work that they're doing? So those are some things going on at the federal level. Do you have something to say? Or
I did speak to the sheriff yesterday on that subject. We had the sheriff's action committee, or community committee rather. And I did, because at a couple of meetings ago, I had asked them if they would be getting involved with any of that. And they let us know that we would not be facilitating any ICE activities. So that was okay, that's great. So at this last meeting last night, I asked them if they would intervene in the event that ICE was participating in illegal activities on our school properties. And the sheriff was very clear. It is duty to intervene in the event of unlawful actions on our schools or in our schools or on the properties. We did discuss, make sure that everybody is aware of our policies on the front door. Like maybe that needs to go out every 2 days kind of thing, just to make sure. But I feel a lot more comfortable having that conversation with him. And they had a cheat sheet for all of the officers. What you do when this happens, what you do when this happens.
Right.
So it was great.
Thank you for elevating that.
Yeah.
The last thing I would say, well, two last things. One, the last legislation that was passed recently by both parts of the legislature is to increase funding. So they have funded all of the different parts of public education. So IDA, Title III-A, Title IV-A, Title II-A. So they have funded those programs, but we're still on the watch. And one of the things that I want to point out to all of us is that we need to monitor what's happening at the federal level and the state level, to get involved, to engage our legislators, make sure you're part of the conversation, and watch for updates. So, and that's my legislative update.
Thank you.
Sure,
Sorry.
it's all good.
Sorry, Einar, it's your turn now. Are we invited to the party now?
Well, I don't know, first, I don't know who you all are. I'm JR.
Marcy King,
Hi.
nice to meet you. Nicole Beers.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Sydney.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
It's been a couple of years.
It's been, I was just saying, we worked together 20 years ago.
So nice to see you.
Nice.
Nice to see you. Why do you have the boots?
Yeah.
I know, I think somebody too hard.
Why do you have the boot on?
For style.
Yeah.
See, you're a man of style right there.
He's a blazer.
So I'm wearing the boot because a couple weeks ago I tore the fascia under my foot. So
Ooh.
plantar fasciitis. Do you want me to sit down or something?
Whatever you
Whatever
feel
you like.
comfortable.
You should sit on the table, under
Don't
the
stand,
table.
don't stand with the booth.
Or sit on top of the table. Yeah.
Like you did back in the day.
So I've been dealing with plantar fasciitis for a while.
Wow.
And turns out surgery for the worst cases of plantar fasciitis is they actually cut the fascia. A couple weeks ago, I was walking to my second job and it popped on its own. So, you know, I saved the insurance company some money, saved myself a copay, MRI in a couple days to see what the real damage is, and we'll go from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hang in there.
Yeah, so that's what's going on. You three, my name's Einar. I'm Einar Jensen. I'm here as the president of the Clear Creek High School Alumni Association. A role that I'm the interim president. It's not until we have our annual meeting at the reunion this summer that hopefully it becomes official or not. But for now, I'm the president. I'm a proud graduate from the class of 1991. I noticed when I walked in, there were 4 of us in here that I'm aware of who graduated from this institution, from the school district. Lori, Commissioner Marlin, and Commissioner Hartman Ball, or Ball or Hartman or whatever she goes by. So there's 4 of us in this room. And when you expand that out through this school, we've got at least we've got the principal, we've got I don't know what Inman does, but he does everything else. We've got other staff members throughout the district. We've got, we're in the fire district, we're in EMS, we're in the sheriff's office. I'm not saying we're as numerous as other districts with the name Creek in it, but Clear Creek has definitely spread its wings. We're all over the place. So in the past, we've had our annual reunion. It's always the last Saturday in July. In the past, it's been at the Elks Lodge. The Elks Lodge is fine, but it's small. It's working with our staff has been difficult over the last couple of years. And
The fire guy.
even for me, there's the idea that if you're not an elk, maybe you're not really invited. You don't feel like you're welcome. And there's that traditional, very exclusiveness.
That is
Yeah, the owl seems to be talking to me. Hi, owl. How's it going? Who's there? Yeah. Going forward, it's time to move the reunion somewhere else. And last fall, I approached Wes. We want to have the reunion at the Highway 103/Carlson Elementary School building. It's where a lot of us went to school from, the class of 69 through the class of 2000-ish, heavy in the ish. We would love to have the reunion, the all-class reunion there this summer. It would be July 25th. We'd show up to set up. Most of us would show up to set up about 9 a.m. I'm going to be nervous, so I'll probably get there about 6:30. But no, we'd start setting up about 9 a.m. The actual event traditionally is from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then after 2 p.m., we'll stay until it's all cleaned up. We would like to incorporate some aspect of tours of the building so that, especially those of us in that ginormous block of time who graduated from that building or attended school in that building, could see what's up, how it's changed. I've been in there for some safety committee meetings over the last year, I guess. And of course, chatting with Wes last fall, it's spectacular. And it's totally not, it's the same shell, but it's not the same building. And I think that that's one of those things that the school district can brag about, is how it has modernized into an elementary school. And I'm guessing it's functional. I don't really watch the scanners. I don't hear a lot of child versus ramp issues, certainly any more than when we were there. So
We took all the wheels off the chairs.
Well, that's probably reasonable. Because sixth grade is still in elementary school, right? Oh, that's totally reasonable, yeah. So we'd like to have tours there. Part of the attraction of Carlson is that there's a playground on site. And maybe we can encourage more families to attend this year instead, because who's gonna bring their, I'm not gonna say it that way. Few people brought their kids to the Elks Lodge because there really wasn't anything for the kids to do, like, except hang out with a bunch of, from the kids' perspective, a bunch of old people. But now there'd be a playground there. We'd also, I've been thinking about this, maybe we could, and again, we take care of all the cleanup, maybe not knowing what the weather's gonna be, like today's the 247th day of October, so not really knowing what's gonna happen this summer. Maybe we could have eating space inside as well as outside. And then I'll chat with either the music teacher here, the music teachers here, starting out with, maybe we get some of the current students to provide a little bit of music for us. If that doesn't work, because I get it, I have teenagers that they're busy during the summer. Maybe we can get other alumni groups to come back and bring a little bit of music to the event. That's my first request. It's coming. It's coming.
Well, yeah.
That's really what I would like the board to consider. I've got a second part of it. And I've been mulling this over. It's not, I would ask that you consider it separately, like a part B. If A is not gonna work, then forget it. But if A does work, there is also the question of whether the school board would be okay with us having alcohol at the event. That is, like I say, that's not a deal breaker for me as the president. If it's a deal breaker for the rest of my board, then they shouldn't have voted for me, and that's fine. But it's not a deal breaker. I think it's fair to, I'm gonna throw a little bit of vulnerability here. Just personally, alcoholism has taken 2 people from me over the last 6 or 7 years. And I know I'm not alone. So if the school board would prefer not to have an alcohol event at the property, straight up, I'm good with that. But because I represent the board for the Alumni Association, it was appropriate for me to also ask about that. So those are my requests, and I would love to answer questions. Yes, ma'am.
I don't think this is our decision. We have a facilities use form that our building leaders and our superintendent are to give people that want to use our facilities and work out the details with you. That's not a board thing.
But I think the waiver of
The alcohol.
the alcohol.
No,
Does raise to that.
That's a different, permit application that does have to come to us. But as
Correct.
far as the use of
Yeah,
the
that's fine.
facility,
Yeah.
everything there, that's not even us.
I've given them initial acknowledgement that we can.
Right,
so
yeah.
We'll just fill the paperwork out and you can use the facility for that day.
I remember that conversation, but I also wanted the school board to be on board.
Well, we appreciate knowing about it for sure, yeah. I think with the alcohol thing, from my perspective, with would you say it was 10 to 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's 4 hours, and they're gonna give you perimeters on how that can play out on our property as well. And with the conditions, I think that we can put forward that it's reasonable to me.
I would say so too. I feel better. I mean, you didn't say that it says it in the little blurb here that it would be outside. Yeah, they would ensure that there was no drinks inside, because even though school wouldn't be in session, I still worry about something being left inside, or even just to see it inside would be weird for me.
Poor form.
Yeah. But like Carrie Ann said, I think it's a short enough time. It doesn't seem like it's enough time for people to get too rowdy and,
Wes, did you have concerns?
I don't have any concerns of it being outside the building. I appreciate the Alumni Associate's willingness to make sure that everything they find is left that way when they get there, so really cleaned up and so forth. And so I'm good with it being outside. I would also encourage the food to be outside too, but we can talk about that.
If we kept alcohol outside, could we also have eating inside or sitting inside? Depending on the weather, or just or would we be looking at just the tours inside?
We were initially just tours, but let's talk offline. about
Okay.
And I was I'm not on the booster club anymore, but, maybe Inman can look you up, but they have a ton of those tents that they use for the half marathon.
There's like an
Service
entire,
shelter.
like, area in the front that's sheltered.
Yeah, I mean, there is shelter there.
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw some things out there. It's a lot of windshield time from Littleton to Evergreen, so, you know.
I guess this basically falls on Wes's shoulder, since Lori won't be on staff at that day.
She's volunteered to be giving tours also.
Okay, so
Yeah.
she's gonna, but, I mean, like I said, that we have abdicated that responsibility to the building leaders. And it kind of sounds like you may have a consensus a
That is-
little bit here.
That is not the Clear Creek School Board that I was not used to.
We want to let our building leaders do what they feel comfortable with.
My God, 2026 is on. You know what I mean?
I do,
Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
Heard.
Well, can I answer any other questions or concerns, or at the very least, encourage you to attend?
How do you guys get the invitations out? Because I know a whole slew of alumni that don't know anything about these things.
Yeah, so we'll use our social media platforms.
Okay.
We're also going to use word of mouth, electronic word of mouth.
Mhm.
I think that once we've established that it can be at Carlson,
Mhm.
even online already, there's a lot of folks who aren't members of the Alumni Association who are jazzed about it.
Right.
I think it's going to feel a lot more inclusive. We've been struggling with right around 100, we've been struggling to get more than about 100 people at the reunion every year. And I think it's because it's just doesn't feel welcoming. And so one of my big pushes is to not just get a lot of people at the reunion, but also grow the Alumni Association. I mean, even people of my era, Lori's era, we don't have, after about the mid-70s, we just don't have a lot of members. And I could soapbox on that for hours, but that wouldn't do anybody any good. And I'd still have to go back and answer to someone, so. Hopefully we'll get more people there.
Right.
And our treasurer on the board right now is actually from the class of 17.
Wow.
So having a relative new kid on the board, hopefully we'll get some more new blood in it.
Right. Yeah.
I've got 3. I'll make sure they come.
Outstanding. Ball and tolls are welcome.
Is this something that we could, maybe like help facilitate advertising to the community too? As just like a community event as well?
Yeah, and I think that that's legit. One of the things we did over the last couple of years is expand the membership call. It's not just people who graduated from Clear Creek High School or Idaho Springs High School or Georgetown High School. It's people who went to school there at any point in their career.
Mhm.
It's current and former faculty. It's people who support the students who have gone to those schools. And we've had a few people join that, mostly they've been parents. But yeah, it could be pretty awesome when it comes down to it. We could make it as awesome as we want. So, sure. That's really my answer, Cindy. Sure.
Exactly.
If you're gonna be there, sure.
It's like one of those things that you don't wanna like cross the line or, overstep and so that you guys can be allowed to do your thing, but also I think we have a great community presence.
Carrie Ann knows this about me. I don't respond well to boxes or lines or fences.
That's why we work really well together.
Yeah.
We were reporters and firefighters together.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a gold digger, but I could easily be called a gold rogue.
I'm a cougar.
Fair enough. I understand, right? The mountain community, we've got gold diggers, we got cougars, we got lobos, whatever the heck that is. Yeah, it's awkward up here.
Yeah. You're doing it right.
The other thing, and before I step away, I appreciate that you've been going to the schools. In my other job, my full-time job, I'm lucky enough to teach classes in two of the schools in our school district here, and I still call our school district. The staff members that you have at King Murphy are top-notch. I love working with all of them. I've been in every grade level over there. I haven't actually been in the 5th, 6th grade classroom, but I've been with those kids when they've been with Jill Kokel in the outdoory environmental sort of classroom there on the 2nd floor. And I was here in the fall with some of the high school kids. Coming up in this spring, I'm gonna be with Gianna, whose last name I can't pronounce at the moment, with some of her kids in environmental sorts of studies, and I'm gonna be coming back with Kendall Tapp's health kids. So I mean, again, we've created a good system here, and I'm sorry that Maria is your principal here because of the reason that she's here, but I am, because I was there with her at EHS, but I am through the moon that you picked up Maria as your principal here at Clear Creek High School.
It wasn't the first
So
time.
the
we
reason
tried.
behind it is this, it's just the pits, but that she's here, spectacular. So, yeah, good job.
Thank you.
I haven't always thought that about a school board here in Clear Creek, but good job. Good job. I don't even know who you are over there, so I'm feeling like I'm a little exposed.
She's doing great too. That's our CFO.
Oh, way to go you. Okay. Yeah, all right, way to go CFO. Nothing happening in your world. So then would it be okay for us to start moving forward with at least planning the date, and then I'll get with you about the details of the details.
Yeah, so reach out to Lori, she'll get you a copy of the building use form,
Perfect.
and then she'll get you on the calendar so we can go over the document and then also negotiate.
Yeah.
everything.
The
I think it's
special use.
$10,000 is what we charge these days for.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We charge an FTE for this. Oh, that's brilliant.
Oh, I like
Which FT?
Right.
As it turns out, I'm in your schools a lot. So maybe it's a, you're already getting it.
And you can teach English, I hear too, so.
I can teach, well, I had my sub license for a while. I could probably get it again
Okay.
There you go.
if necessary.
It's always necessary.
Well, I appreciate your time. I'll let you go back to do anything. You're not trying to hold back a hurl or something,
No,
are
I'm
you?
good.
Okay,
It's like-
I'm kind of nervous there. Okay. Awkward. All right. Well, thanks for your time.
Thank
I hope
you.
it takes a while.
Are you gonna be there tomorrow?
I'm not going to be there tomorrow for the safety committee because my daughters have eye appointments that I need to get to.
Okay, gotta take care of the kiddos.
I am, well, no, I'm not gonna do
Okay,
that. You know how to get a hold of me if you need
I
something.
do.
Okay.
yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Apparently it's your turn.
Welcome. Thanks for answering all the questions that were sent in advance and.
Those were great questions, because, I mean, basically have the same things, the duplicate of,
I figured that's what it was, I was like, let me just ask.
Yeah, Tammy wanted to come in over break and do one on the 30th, but I just said take a break and run on the 5th. And then we did the 5th, 15th, and 30th instead of 10th, 20th, and 30th. So January was kind of funny looking compared to most months, but just due to break, there were quite a few that were 2 months of payments just due to holiday break. Did anyone else have any questions? I do have some notes I could blast through, or I could read Marcy's questions and answer them out loud.
They're part of the record, right? No, they aren't. They were in an email. So yeah, if you wouldn't mind verbalizing it a little bit, so that we have it for the record for any public that's reviewing minutes and has the same questions.
Okay. She asked, why all copy was so high, and, December's invoice was paid on 1/5 due to holiday break. And then January's invoice was paid on 1/29, so it's 2 months of payments, versus the one traditionally. This also applies to CDW and SBS. Jefferson Center for Mental Health is an annual invoice. It's 3 counselors, therapists, one at the middle school, high school, 1.0 FTE, 0.5 FTE at King Murphy, and a 0.5 FTE at Carlson. Last year it was 99K, higher that year due to an additional FTE at the high school, and then 68,000 in prior years. So I've been working with some people at the district office just to figure out who helps Jefferson figure out these FTEs, just so we can play with that, considering we might still have the school health professional grant next year in some capacity. And then a few other grants come into play where we may or may not need all of that service. So we'll see what we can get negotiated for this year. Normally this gets paid in October, November. We had to request the invoice this year because we noticed it wasn't showing on Q2 expenses. So that's gonna kind of throw our Q2 this year versus Q3 to the prior year, but it's just because that high expense is gonna hit in Q3 instead. We have 2 parent mileage reimbursements that are for out-of-place districts in lieu of ever-driven. It results in cost savings to the district, so you'll see those on there. 2 different vendor names. And then the descriptions going forward are just gonna read mileage reimbursement for those, so when you see those, that's what they're gonna be for. Reoccurring expense this year. And I think those were all her questions. Some of my notes, I'll copy 2 months. There's one charge on here that we're gonna get reimbursed from Jeffco for a student that moved to their district. And it's gonna show on this month and next month, but then I expect a full reimbursement for those payments. We're working with Lumen to clean up some of the billing. I did just connect a few phone lines that we believe were connected to some old alarm and security. So hopefully I did the right thing. We'll find out if the phone calls don't go through.
Next alarm test.
Partnered with Central Security and went through every line on the phone list, so.
They pretty much know when you've disconnected their line, they will let you know immediately.
I mean, they
So
can
you
see
don't
me-
have to wonder.
They can
Yeah.
see the activity had not occurred in years, so.
Right, yeah.
I feel safe about what I've done, but if I've done something wrong, I apologize and I'll try to get it right as soon as possible. There's a payment to Para that was for the employer contributions that we do for Kathy Nasmussen services. There were 4 or 5 months from a year prior that were missed in reporting to them, so they asked for that reimbursement. So you're gonna see that on there. That's kind of an unexpected charge, but it's $1,900, so nothing too alarming. We canceled the service at El Dorado at King Murphy. I don't believe it'll appear next month unless it's just the collection fees and whatever bottles they had in their building, but then after that, El Dorado would drop off. Ever-driven looks very heavy. There were payment issues and I withheld payment from November until now, just until the payment issues and invoices were corrected. So there's several months worth of payments there, so that's why that looks so high.
which is like half what it used to be.
Yeah. Yes, thankfully.
Oh, and Marcy did ask about one of the parents that
Yeah,
was
she
being.
said-
Okay, gotcha, I missed that part.
There's two on there that are gonna show, but that's, cost savings for us, so. Jefferson Center, or no, Jefferson Center for Mental Health, we talked about that, it's within the budgeted amount, so, no concerns, that's just our annual invoice from them. I did have to do a budget entry just from the middle school to the high school to allow for proper billing locations. Charges, and then NCI, some long distance, I'm pretty sure I can cancel this in full. Tammy went through the entire list and phoned every phone number. I believe it's something we can cancel, so hopefully that's going to drop off here in the near future.
Thank you for doing that. Going
Yes,
through getting rid of all
thank you.
these, like, I mean, even, it's not a lot, but it adds up over years, you know?
Yeah. And some of the CenturyLink lines that are still intact have unnecessary services, so we're working with them, Loop and CenturyLink, same thing, to remove some of the add-ons. I don't believe we need, like, caller ID to a security system, so we're gonna get those taken care of and kind of trim the fat on those. I lost where I was, sorry. Yeah, I didn't cancel that. There's the last audit fee invoice for 26, so, that's on there, but that's their final piece of it. Parent reimbursements paid in lieu of Everdriven. There was Pie Barker, they replaced 2 booster panels that fried during the windstorm, but that's part of the insurance claim that will get reimbursed. SBS 2 months of services. Simple, Barrington and Everall is another one that had 2 months worth of services. And one of the months is a little higher than traditional months, just due to some of the ongoing things we are working through at the district. Canceled my phone from the district, so you see a little credit on the Verizon account, and we'll drop off the invoice there. And then the bottom one, Xerox, is a service that we paid for, but we get reimbursed from All Copy quarterly. Those are all my notes, I think.
How are you feeling about the all copy?
I think that was a good move.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a cost savings to the district, it's still very much just a flat rate, but, I've emailed Xerox 12 times, got a random invoice I've gotten, and I just absolutely zero response.
Right.
No matter what, and I pick up the phone or an email and I pretty much speak to somebody that day with All Copy. Kristen and I had the privilege of touring their facilities.
And have most people gotten over the frustration with codes and all of that fun stuff?
I haven't heard anything.
No, people are good with it.
So are we, like, so does each teacher get their own code and then they're
After a while, but
compiled?
it's on their fob.
Right,
So
so
they
then you
can
know
even-
how many copies each teacher is?
I don't know how many
Yeah,
copies each teacher is
interesting,
made,
yeah. Okay,
and they can code in, they can fob in, or they can actually use the job from their computer.
right, okay.
Enhanced security measures, you fob into your prints release, it doesn't just sit there, especially if you print something and then start chatting and you forget, and there's something important sitting there.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Just everything about the services, I think, have just been worlds compared to Xerox, so I would never go back. I don't think anyone would ever make the change and go back.
Agreed.
Yeah. Thanks, yeah. I don't remember when that change made, but it was been about a year or so.
It's been a year and a half.
Right, yeah.
So I think that was a good move, and I think that they're a great partner for us.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, with the new tagline, I was a little confused, because I've seen it with the yellow and blue staggered. But in Stephanie's email, she's showing it all in one straight line in blue. So I'm assuming that they're just replacing in our current
It's just
logo, best educators, empowered learners, visionary district, pulling that out and putting,
Yes. I think it's just
Yeah.
the words. And then they have the freedom to, I mean, use, right, blue and yellow and whatever.
well, that's, I wanna be mindful since we,
So the
Got
blue
a
and yellow, I think
color scheme.
is, I created that based on the color scheme, so my signature, which other
Yeah.
people have picked up, I just matched the color of the districts.
yeah, but I have seen it on
Logo.
a couple others, like, Tom Hardy's was a little bit more, less athletic gold and a little more Las Vegas gold. So
Well,
I
I think
just
we can
wanna,
just give them the direction that
Mhm.
if we decide to
If we
approve the
choose
change of
it.
the tagline,
Mhm.
but the colors need to be,
right, and that was it, I just wasn't seeing that documentation to add, because we did spend a lot of time and dollars on creating the brand. So I do love the tagline, I
I
do,
think if we,
Mhm. No, go ahead.
if the board chooses to replace that tagline with the one that the enrollment task force is putting
Mhm.
forward, it will be locked into that.
Yeah.
That logo, and
Mhm.
so you may not see as much variation as you're seeing
Right.
right now.
Right,
Do we own our logo?
we do.
Are you sure?
I don't know, Mitch calls me anytime he sees it not being used right and says,
Well, that's what I'm
Yeah.
wondering, does the foundation own it or do we? Because he has asserted that before. So maybe we need clarification. I would think we own our own logo, but I don't,
Okay.
I don't know.
good question.
Yeah, I know.
say, that I don't have an answer to. What the heck, but,
I mean, overall, I do think where academic excellence meets mountain adventure definitely encompasses more of a feeling and a culture of what we're doing here, more so than the clunky. I think that's clunky. But no, I think this is slick. I think honestly, it's
Speaks
probably
to who we
brilliant
are.
to what we're doing.
Yeah.
And so I have absolutely no aversion to that. I just want to know where we stand with
Yeah.
things.
Should we involve the community at all? I mean, I think it's great, but,
They are the community.
Yeah,
Should we
they
ask-
are. They're all parent volunteers that came up with this.
okay.
I think Carrie Ann's right, that it encompasses what we're doing, so I don't have any problems with it. But yeah, just making sure we stick with our colors, since we took time. Make sure it's consistent across the board.
yeah, they staggered it on their flyer. But yeah, to be mindful, whenever you change a logo and you're, anything like this, yeah, it changes your, I don't know, do we actually have pre-printed letterhead? Or do we print it fresh when we're sending a letter? I mean, I'm like, wait a second, this might not affect us
I love
much
the
at
use of
all.
print, like we have a digital letterhead,
Right,
and we cut and paste it onto all the documents that when we write them, so that they
So-
go out that way.
okay. I'm old, you know, I've worked with like pre-printed
Right,
letters.
smell the copy. Yeah, so typically it's just, we just cut and paste it on there.
Okay.
There, once in a while, the old logo will pop up in one of the, when I'm going through my drive, I'm like, oh, I gotta not use that one. So it still exists out there, but we have a tendency to use the little square
Right.
on the top of our letterhead. And then the round
Yeah.
mountain
Are
scale.
there other time frame things and expenses that, because it's not like we can just do it tomorrow. When we rolled out the new BOCES logo and name and it was months that we,
probably have about 500 recruiting folders that
Um,
Foundation bought.
Yeah.
With the current logo.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's on a business card.
It is.
So we can still, use those. We should
Yeah.
still use those.
I'm not gonna, yeah, I'm not gonna
Exactly.
toss those,
Yeah.
no.
I think just do a gradual rollout and
When
update.
you order new stuff,
Anything
Things
purchased from here forward.
Yes.
I like that.
once we figure out how to get a hold of the original, so we can put that into
and-
the original.
I'm thinking it might be Jason Melez. I know that I talked with him about the brand guidelines, but I don't know that he created the logo. So, yeah.
Was Becky involved in it?
I think it was Athena.
I was gonna, it was
Oh,
before
yeah.
Becky.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was 5 people ago.
It's time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I got her number, I can ask.
I mean, really, it's not that hard to recreate. It's
Or
really
maybe
not.
just ask Jason, and
Yeah.
if it wasn't him, then,
Yeah.
because it may have been, for some reason that sticks out to me too, just
Mhm.
for other reasons.
I know that he was involved in at least the brand guidelines. I don't know how much
Don't we
existed.
have a graphics class?
No, I don't, we've got a,
Do you
Sure.
have a kid with the graphics
What is-
inclination?
Warren Tech.
Melon, Stephanie Mellon teaches.
That would help them with their resume.
Right, yeah, recreate our logo, just like this.
Do a contest.
Why not?
Okay.
Say they would do it quicker than most of us.
Now I feel challenged. I'll have it done tomorrow before they get back to school.
You do need to sleep sometimes, Jessica.
I haven't, yeah. Yeah, any other thoughts or concerns on,
Well, Marcy, is this going back to the task force, or is this for admin, or who is this asked from?
I
this
believe,
enrollment?
This from Steph, who's like the marketing, she's kind of like the marketing,
The lady,
one of the
yeah.
leads over there at Enrollment Task Force. And so, I mean, I think they were just wanting to make it official
Fair,
with board approval. And so I guess, do we vote on it at our business meeting? And then, or do we, when we discuss it, or are we discussing it right now? Do we need to find out who the, more things, or?
So in the brand guidelines, it says Athena.
Okay.
Who, how long did that hit? Years. 2 years, so she's been gone probably at least 3 years.
So what does that mean moving forward?
Oh, logo development, create logo kit, Office of Teaching and Learning logo, Compass Day logo. This is
Might have
all
been
Mort
Becky.
Escape
so Becky must have
Design
gotten funding
Company,
for it.
which is.
Estate design?
Mort Escape Design, and it's Jason Valdez.
Okay.
District logo kit, district recreation, district.
So you're all right.
guidelines.
Everybody is right.
There was a winner.
Well, then again, we have a source thing.
So I think we just, I guess, next time need to vote that we do or don't approve it, but I think we need to have some specific, like the coloring and everything, our specific,
Shade.
yeah, guidelines, not guidelines, but rules, for the change.
And then it's gonna be gradual,
Brand,
so the cost is minimal.
we paid for that in 2021.
Okay.
That sounds about right. Yeah,
I can pull invoices or something if that's helpful.
No, just gonna reach out. see
We just
what it
need a
costs
phone
for
number.
The tweak.
These invoices are in a box.
No, I have talked with Jason about updating the brand guidelines, but it's honestly, it's just a PDF, so it really doesn't require us hiring him again,
Logo design, so
I don't really.
somewhere between him and Athena, someone did it.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, nothing in February.
I'll do it February 23rd.
But moving forward, we can move forward.
The owl is out again.
no, it's. Is it work with your grandkids?
No, I muted her.
All right, are we good then? We'll
Yeah, I think we just come back with some parameters on the shading and whatnot, but I think that overall we have a consensus that we're okay with what we're doing.
She might say, oh, I can do this in 10 minutes.
Right. I like that
Depends
idea.
on the files that they have. I mean, if they have previous files, it's pretty quick.
It's really easy.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it.
Okay, family calendars. Are we aligned with, our Jeffco friends,
They aren't as out as far as this is.
Whoop, whoop. Now they have to align with us.
Yes, they, trust me, I call them and harass them every year and every year. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
But we are for this year and next year. And then if they unalign with us, it'll just be a week's movement, so that would be a pretty easy fix.
I love that graduation is not on Memorial Day weekend anymore.
Well, so we did 3 years out for a couple reasons. I don't know if you want like the quick and dirty. There was a request and we put out a survey this year after Thanksgiving. A couple staff members had asked to have the whole week of Thanksgiving off. So we put out a survey and literally it came back 50-50. People wanted it and people didn't want it. And they made some other suggestions, and so we looked at everything, we modeled it out, but we had to model it out this far to figure out that as the months, as days switch and you have leap year in there and all of that, we modeled it out to the year 2930.
The fire's out there. Hold on.
You'll have and meet all the other requirements of starting too early, not
Like
starting too late.
related stuff is in there.
And the fire's over
Alright, can you mute what's
where
going
the
on?
fireplace is.
There's a bigger one. Yep.
Who is it?
So we tried to take into consideration what staff wanted, also honoring the previous survey that went out pre-Kristen when the district decided to go from the 5-day to the 4-day. So just keeping all of that in mind and, like I said, leap year and all of that. So that's why we modeled it out this far. And then we thought, when this is approved, then we can also get the staff calendars out. And then if anybody wants to start planning, they can. Our goal ultimately was to have 3 years at a time. It just didn't quite work out that way.
Yeah.
So here it is.
Thank you.
So I'm happy to answer any questions you have or concerns or anything.
So I haven't scrutinized the calendar, but I'm wondering, I think last time we put it out there as a draft and we got some feedback.
So I put it out to Rachel
Okay.
and I said, hey, it was before the last board meeting. I
Sure.
said, Michelle and I are happy to meet with any staff that
Right.
want to come. We've scheduled an hour. 2 staff showed up. And then one other staff reached out to me and said, I can't make that time, so I met with her individually. But I laid out, and I'm impressed with the staff that came because they brought their calculators, they were ready to math the math.
Right.
And when Michelle and I talked about everything, and we gave them a much more extensive explanation and how we mathed the math. They were happy with everything. They asked some questions. They understood how we came up with all of this.
Right.
So I feel like if we opened it up to everybody, 3 staff showed up, we showed all 3, we answered all their questions, and they were happy with this.
And do we normally send these to families? I feel like I used to get the
I feel like the families.
emails to, kind of like we do with policy.
Not since I've been here.
Okay.
I have a question on a completely personal level.
I love it.
And I'm sorry if this is like already been answered, but I personally wish that we started later. Because I feel like the start of August is still nice and warm and I still want to hang out with my kids at the pool, and the end of May, beginning of June, sometimes it still snows.
I was gonna ask the same question.
So
Because I've had some
the
parents.
feedback
actually-
we've gotten is, and you gotta remember, we're a 4-day week. There's only so many days. We try to have as many 4-day weeks as possible. The feedback is start later in August and end before Memorial Day. Well, then we just can't get it, the minimum
have
numbers
to
to do
end
contact
before-
days in.
Do we have to end before Memorial Day?
We don't
No,
have.
there was the first year, I think, first or second year when we went to the 4-day, and we did go to like June 8th, and it was awful.
Yeah.
Because
Because
it's so many.
I actually had to pull my kids early because we had like weddings and
Trips,
stuff.
right.
I mean, there was things that happened in June and school was still in.
Michelle and I did go back to, because I started the summer that there was the transition, so we went back to all the feedback and surveys that have gone out. And the majority of it was, if you can't have both, start late in August and end before Memorial Day and before Memorial Day.
I remember that year because I was outside of the district, and we heard from students in this district, they're like, because the students in that district were out of school, and they're like, still have to be in school. And they're like, yeah, bummer for them, they'd still be in school. So it was that thing, like everyone wants to have the same time off.
Yeah.
The other big driving factor in this is, we really try hard because our neighboring districts don't do this, and I hear a lot of complaints about it, is we try to make the semesters even, or as even as possible, which I know for the elementary schools, they're on trimesters, so it's not that big of a deal, but for the middle school and high school, we hear a lot from the teachers of, if you're teaching this class first semester and second semester, and you have 3 more weeks in second semester because we started later and ended later, it's hard to teach apples to apples.
Yeah.
And I think parents, students, and staff all like to have finals before the winter break so that you're done and you can truly have a break.
Unless weather, like the
Well,
last
yeah.
2 years. keeps
But-
you from-
Yes, but other districts who end the semester in January end like mid to late January. So then the students feel like if they, they might need to study over break as opposed to truly having a break.
I always love it when the last day of school is a snow day.
Mhm.
My kiddos had one of those, it was fantastic.
The last 2 years. I have heard questions about why the elementary schools are on trimesters. Is there a reason for that? Is there a benefit?
Do you want to answer that? I mean, I could give my history.
Go ahead.
That was one of the first questions I asked when I got here, as we're doing the calendars, and I think the principals and the teachers like that,
Okay.
but as to why or,
That was actually lifted up
Yes.
in
I was gonna say,
some of
we
our
got the
conversations at
opposite
King Murphy,
feedback.
so,
oh,
Yes.
yeah.
That it would alleviate some reporting time that can be used for other things, and then it would align better with our conferences. Because we have those touch points with parents.
Yes.
I think I'm
Yeah.
reiterating it fairly accurately. And it would just free up teachers instead of doing.
They don't
that.
have to prepare 3.
Yeah.
Report cards. So, that's.
I think the feeling was they would have to prepare 4, because they would go to quarters. I'm not the expert on that, so
I don't know,
I'm
that
not
wasn't
sure.
what I heard, was
Yeah.
that they would reduce it just to
Two
2, but.
semesters.
I have 3 kids and I could not tell you how many times I get report cards. So
Because it's not consistent.
trimester versus semester,
We
whatever.
have such a small district.
Yeah.
I think as a parent experience, reaching out to a teacher is so easy to do. That going to the semesters for elementary would make it easier personally, but.
So,
What is this a lot?
Here's what I would say. is that-
I mean, I don't know specifically why Clear Creek has a history of doing trimesters. I just know that
with IB.
all other districts I've worked with, they have had trimesters too, both at the elementary and middle school. We don't do it maybe because middle school is part of the high school, so they do a semester. I just wonder about, the reporting for elementary is so much different than secondary about how's my student doing with math and reading and writing. And I just wonder when the report would be then, if you do it semester, that's right before you go to winter break, how does that work in the scheduling and so forth, and having that more timely for parents who need to make adjustments, like, ooh, my kid's not doing well in this, how can I help them at home,
I think
supporting
that
them?
hits with conferences being in between, like,
And they're only doing 2 conferences.
right,
So
What
that
is-
seems-
so you have that conference touch point in
Right.
between the reporting.
So you have a semester and you have 2 quarters, instead of preparing 4 report cards, could there be like a very informal report card?
Well, I think that's what Nikki is saying, is that there's the conference touch points more like at the trimester.
Which would allow parents to kind of get on board with like, do we need to do something?
Right.
Like ours are next week, as long as I haven't mixed up my month again, like they've been back in school for a little bit, so we're hearing from the teachers, we're getting that feedback.
I think it's a great question. I didn't prepare the research to present to you, but I think it's a great question.
Here's what I can say from the calendar perspective, and Michelle's not listening, so because this would actually, she's the magic behind the scenes. It's like click, 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 like we can change the calendars, no problem. It's when you start changing start dates and end dates and all of that, that's what gets,
Yes.
causes the domino effect. But if we decide that elementaries, like that's the best thing is to go to semesters, that's easy to change on the calendars.
And so I was just bringing back what we heard in my experience, and there might be something I'm completely missing here, and then fine, that's great, you know. But if it is a pain point we can alleviate for the teachers,
So I guess the only thing I would ask is, because from a calendar perspective, it's not a big deal, that if you decide to approve these next meeting, that research or decision doesn't hold up your decision here. Does that make sense?
When do you need them approved? Is there a?
Well, couldn't we always approve them and then say, I don't know, that
We make
that could
them.
even get done before next
I
year?
think every year we've made an amendment.
Yeah, then we can amend it if they do change.
And if it changed, you would have to do an amendment, but what I'm saying is like, that's not a reason to not approve or come back and say, regardless of the semester thing, trimester, if you want other changes. Otherwise, I think you can approve that.
Okay. Is there any value in getting stakeholder feedback, like putting it out like policy? Is that?
On the calendars
On the
or the
calendars.
trimester question?
Either.
I would be curious about the trimester question, because I would hate to go through the trouble of doing it and then everyone's like, wait, why did you do that? I liked it the way it was, you know, maybe we need some feedback, a poll or something.
I'd be interested in knowing parents, like if we were to send this out to parents.
I'm talking more about the teachers though. I bet not most parents, but I'm guessing a lot of parents
Don't look at it
wouldn't know the
until.
difference.
Or maybe they don't have thoughts or opinions until they see it and they're like, wait a minute.
I'd be curious what the teachers think about it.
Would you just like to have conversations with the principals, and if there's any, stop there and.
I think the question was, I think meet with the principal, just get history of why there's trimesters. I think there's two questions. One is, you know, we can put this out to families saying, here is the draft calendar for the next 3 years, and then have a Google form that they can fill out to say if they have any questions or about that. And then the second question is for the elementaries. Are there any concerns with having trimesters versus semester, or what is your preference having trimesters? I want to change my wording. If you had a choice between trimesters and semesters, what would you prefer for elementary?
And probably maybe state what it is now, because I probably.
Yeah.
Any thought?
So let me talk to our elementary folks, since that's that part. But I think we put this out as just to say, if you see anything that you have concerns, and they give us input, and share those with you for the second reading or second review, and then we'll try to see if we can get some information about the
Yeah.
trimesters.
I would like to get it out there sooner rather than later, so that, you know, people can make their plans as
Right.
they're going forward kind of thing, right?
So thank you so much for that work.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I just want to make sure if we're going to put the 3 drafts out to families, that we're not inadvertently opening ourselves to a barrage of complaints or unhappy people. I just want to be mindful that, like, people are
I
going to
could
ask
see
for
that,
the
like,
Thanksgiving
if
off.
they have a change that they want and we can't accommodate.
Like, we
then
can't
it
accommodate
might-
the Thanksgiving week off, because what Michelle and I agreed on was we're not gonna give Thanksgiving week like this year and next year, and then for 4 more years not give it, and then, 6 years later, give it again. Like, there's gotta be some
Consistency.
consistency. So that's, things like that are my only concerns. But I mean, if you want it out, we'll definitely put it out.
I wonder if we should do like an FAQ or something. Like, here's a request that we get a lot, here's why, or here's like how we've tried to and why we can't.
To go to different publishing,
Like the Thanksgiving week thing.
Memorial Day,
And then, yeah,
August.
yeah.
Memorial Day though, as the calendar goes
It's always on a Monday.
well, it's always on a Monday, but we'll get to the point
It
where
gets earlier
in
and
a few more
earlier.
years, like past 2030, like 2034, we'll be back to being, Memorial Day will be the third Monday and not the fourth Monday.
It'll still be my birthday.
Because like one of the teacher questions was, we always start like the second week. Well, we start the second week, but when the first is on a Saturday or a Sunday, it's, the dates change.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm conflicted because I like getting the feedback from the community on these things, because I think sometimes we've been a little bit surprised, I hadn't thought about that, but at the same time, I don't want to inundate the whole process as well. But I think that we put that out there and I'm just thinking out loud, that with the policies, and we could get to gobbledygook on the policies too, and we don't so
And we
much.
still don't have to make all the changes that are
I think I'm
suggested.
kind of landing towards, yes, let's get it out to the teachers and the parents, like you were talking with the Google Doc, and see what we can, if it starts to get slimy and messy, we can cut the cord.
Well, and we put it with a date, not
Right.
definite, because otherwise we'll never.
Yeah, right, yeah.
I
So
have
we're
a
until Wednesday, Tuesday, until Tuesday.
question,
Yes.
observation.
Yeah.
Is that, conferences are changed to Fridays.
Conferences always show up on the calendar on Fridays.
Oh.
Buildings can decide which day they
Oh.
want it to be. I think the first year that we did the 4-day week, conferences might have been on Fridays. And then
Okay.
people were like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, what are you
And
doing?
it was hard for families with working parents, so then the buildings decided to do it in the evening. But the Friday counts as a work day for the
I
teachers.
see. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, it's like a flex day.
But each principal communicates out to their families.
Yeah, that makes
Because
sense.
sometimes it's Wednesday, Thursday, sometimes it might be Tuesday, Wednesday.
this is where an FAQ could be helpful. Because I'm like, did the teachers weigh in on this?
The teachers
did,
will get a different schedule.
Yeah, and it sounds like we kind of change it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you go out to, and I could sit with you and show you this whole thing, but if you're logged into your CCSD email and you go out to the district website and you go to the HR page, there's an employee resources page. And on that page, I have this year's and next year's calendars, and you can see the family calendar, the staff calendar, and the days worked calendar. I lock it down to only staff or people who have CCSD emails, just because it's information for staff only.
Yeah.
But you could go out there and that would give you a better picture.
I've seen the family and the staff, but I haven't seen the additional. I don't
Okay,
know
these
that,
days work.
Days work.
I don't know that I want
Okay. But you can see like all the information I put out
it.
for
Okay,
staff.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, policy work.
No,
Do we have any other public comment?
no, come on, we're up here.
We are?
We still have.
Review, oh, shoot, see?
I am doing my job tonight.
I got excited and started putting check
Yeah,
marks.
right? It's all checked off.
All right, charters of all of our
Membership.
advisory committees. Yes, thank you for holding me accountable.
That's fine.
I'm trying to
It's
get us
only
through
because I
faster.
wrote notes on it.
Yeah. I think we were starting with the DAC. And I don't-
March.
sure, I don't remember that there being a lot of questions coming out of the DAC one, but.
Well, I want to take a moment to recognize
Mhm.
DAC, the Enrollment Task Force, and I believe the Long Range Planning Committee and the work they do. First, DAC plays a vital role in advising the board on district priorities by reviewing school and department updates, providing feedback on budgeting, policies, unified improvement plans, and family engagement, and maintaining communications with each school accountability committee. Through their thoughtful input and commitment to collaboration, the DAC helps ensure that district decisions reflect the needs of our schools, families, and community and support continuous improvement across the district. The Enrollment Task Force works to better understand enrollment trends, barriers, retention rates, and the factors that influence families' decision to enroll in our schools. Through investigation, collaboration with district leadership, and regular meetings, the committee provides valuable insight and helps guide strategies to strengthen enrollment and promote the district's positive attributes. The board appreciates the committee's, the district is really, appreciates the committee's commitment to representing diverse perspectives across the district and helping ensure long-term sustainability for Clear Creek School District. The Long Range Plan Committee assists the board in reviewing the district's physical facilities, enrollment capacity, infrastructure needs, and long-term capital priorities. Through community representation and expert input, the committee provides recommendations to improve efficiency, sustainability, and future readiness of district facilities. The district values the Long Range Planning Committee work in helping ensure Clear Creek School District continues to provide safe, modern, and effective learning environments for all students. In closing, I'd like to mention that because of the work they do, as we get new members that join this committee, the board or the district encourages ongoing review of the committee charters to ensure continued focus on their mission and responsibilities. That's really important because we see people sometimes wear multiple hats, and they sometimes slip and say they're representing a committee as they deal with a personal matter or another issue that's not specifically related to that committee. Is that fair, Marcy, and presenting it that way?
Sure.
Sounds good.
So I thought this was a little bit something different on our agenda.
Cause yeah, we had some concerns, so that's a great overview,
Right, and that's wonderful.
but say, I know with like long range planning, there was some questions about whether we should keep minutes or not. And we wanted as a board to reiterate that yes, it's very important that minutes be kept.
Can I say
Because-
this, please?
Please.
And because we have 2 new members, I wanted to bring this to your attention as well. We do have somebody on the long range committee who questions why we're doing minutes. And when we formulated this committee, the whole idea was to be able to create a committee that provides tracking for their thought processes so that somebody 10 years, 5 years, wherever can go back, what the hell were they thinking? You know, how did they come to this conclusion? That sort of thing. And, you know, that's kind of where we started out with the task force enrollment committee as well. We wanted to make sure there were minutes. And so, yes, there is a statutory requirement because you can, or you could adopt policy in one of those meetings, and not policy, but an action. And that action is to provide feedback or advice to the board. So that's what that becomes, and that's how it becomes statutorily required. On top of that, the board at that time, all of us, decided that yes, we wanted to have the continuity and to the history of what things were doing. So I just want to reiterate that that's exactly what we're going to be speaking to at the long range committee, to remind people, and it says on the letter when they apply that we're going to be doing minutes. So it's not a surprise kind of thing.
Well, DAC and enrollment task force both 2 minutes, so I did
Right.
that, and
And they
district friends your RV
Right. There's why, I don't understand.
Why did this come up?
I don't know. I didn't ask the why. You saw the message, where I shut it down because it was becoming a meeting. But yeah, I wanted to address it with you guys because you're new and, you know, you had the question in front of you, but I wanted to let you know where the history was on that. Yeah.
So there was that piece, then there's a member that we need to discuss.
So in our membership and the way that it's lined out here for the long range committee, we don't have an advisory position. We just have membership. And we currently have appointed a member who didn't think they'd be voting. Is that fair?
She doesn't think she's voting.
She doesn't think she's voting. So we don't we have a member who doesn't think she's voting. She has various other interests involved as well, which would make it so that she probably shouldn't be voting. But we also rely on her for her expertise and her history with what she has done with us. Is that fair?
Exactly.
Right, so I don't think that we can have appointed members that are voting or non-voting, because we haven't lined that out in our document. Right now, she is a voting member, but she shouldn't. So,
So, do you wanna discuss adding a different level of membership versus losing her insight, or?
Or does she just abstain because it could be a conflict of interest, just like we would? if
the
it
way our
was-
discussions are going, she'd be abstaining the whole meeting. You know what I mean?
But I mean, she could be in the meeting, she just would abstain from voting.
Right, but she's a voting member now.
Because she was put on the committee as a voting
Right.
member.
So I actually think that there are possibilities outside of this particular member that if we were to open it up to an advisory positions, especially in the long range scenario, that it would be good to have advisory positions.
And that's what she would like to.
And that's what we would like for her to be, and we think that, that could be a good fit, but it's not written in our resolution. So we could amend the resolution to add that. And I would like to see that. Because we could get engineers, we could get, different people that just wanna pop in and,
Would they
during a
need-
certain period.
To be approved by us?
I'm sorry?
Would they need to be approved by us to join? 'Cause if there
I
was
would
a
think,
specific-
because it's a membership, whether it's advisory or a voting member, it's still part of the membership, that they would have to be appointed by us. If it was longstanding, or does that make it temporary?
I was gonna
I don't
say-
know, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm arguing with myself.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't know, water issue, and we had someone who.
Was
You're
Right,
available.
it was available, right?
Right.
You wouldn't wanna run it past the
But-
board to.
They
Right.
could come in
Approve
and
them
offer
to
some
come in for
insight,
one day.
one meeting. How does that look?
At the approval of the superintendent, advisory members.
But in,
Yeah.
in this circumstance, this individual wants to be on it for the term of the long range planning committee because of the insight they can provide on history of previous projects, the needs of the school district as far as projects that need to be accomplished and so forth. And they have all those resources. They would like to stay through the whole process, not as a temporary, like for one presentation or so forth. They'd like to be there. So I defer to you all how you want to encapsulate that as amendment or.
I think it's valuable enough to make it a box. I do. And also because I know that it could come up in a different way, but I also question whether or not you have to come to the board to be an advisory. So do we carve out two advisory
What if, there's
possibilities?
a long-term advisory termed position, and then maybe the long range can bring in whomever for a specific topic.
Right.
Which we've done.
I think maybe we are overthinking a little bit, and
Yeah.
maybe we could just do the advisory membership.
Yep.
Where we've asserted, we recognize that there are conflicts, but also a lot of value. And I think that works for me. If that's-
What does the long range planning committee vote on? Out of curiosity.
What do you mean though?
So eventually, you say, and as they've been working for years, or in this case, months, they would come and advise us that here are the millions of dollars and, projects that need to be done, and we would suggest
Here's how
that
we
you,
prioritize
you know,
things.
Like the vote would be like on prioritization, kind of?
Advisory, prioritization,
Gotcha.
that sort of thing. They vote on minutes,
Okay.
who their chairperson is.
So that's one of the things we're moving into next is listing all the things that need to be addressed and prioritizing what the things are, so that when it's presented to the board, they go, what's the most important thing? If we only can go for so much money, what's a priority? And that helps them prioritize.
That's a great leeway into my next concern with the long range committee.
Okay.
Because we have here what the long range committee is doing. Well, currently, the long-range committee is like crash coursing this so they can figure out whether or not we need or can do a bond or a mill levy or something like that. We haven't given them that directive as a board. We just haven't. But that's exactly what they're working on. So I believe that we either need to give them that directive and box it up a little bit. Or, I don't know, it's been, so they've compounded the meetings every 2 weeks to accommodate this bond issue. The schedule. So to get things out there in the correct way. But part of me is concerned that we're skimming over a lot of stuff to get it in there really fast. And I'm wondering if.
To get the bond?
So that they're working on the bond instead of the long range effort that we initially charted it to be. Right?
But there's also
But the
a
bond-
great need.
There's a great need. There's a great need.
A bond would help the long range planning.
How?
Budgeting.
The bond helps us, but ideally, they're in place for years and have
Right.
observed and have created the list, so,
Right.
but yeah, we're looking at lots of needs.
Right,
And
so
so these are brand new members that don't know our budget, don't know our buildings, or what the conditions are. So we're shoving it all in a compounded time. And I'm very concerned that instead of doing a really good job over a longer period of time, that to accommodate this effort, I've had this conversation with Wes, because he feels differently, clearly, he feels differently. But I'm full of angst over us not doing the right job here. We are shoving it in. That's what I feel.
The conversation is, are we being a little too aggressive with bond and levy
Do we
Goals.
really think?
for this election cycle
Right.
versus a future election
So
cycle?
the one thing that could change my mind, the one thing, is if we got polling. And the polling told us, oh, heck yeah, 80% of the community would support this. And that would change my mind. But otherwise, at this point, I'm not feeling great about the way we're rolling out.
I don't know, I haven't attended a long range planning, so I don't know the discussions being had, but, my only concern is the way the last one happened. Probably still a lot of people are salty about it, and so
Bond is what you're talking about?
bond, yeah.
I'm
Does it-
sitting over here bathing eucalyptus. I am so zenned out.
It doesn't mean that they wouldn't support it again, because it's been several years now, but,
Right. But that's a lot of what I'm hearing back, is that even from the long-range committee members themselves, that they don't think that the community could support this effort. But
So,
I've shared my opinion with Wes on this, and I think that by trying to go for something this November, we are being a little too hopeful. And I'm concerned that, we want to do these big aims. If we want to get these things, we're doing it way too quickly by shooting for November of this year.
And I do think that even if we do the polling and have come to the conclusion that we're not going for it this year, that is going to give us guidance on the work that we have to do.
That, and I think it would allow us to potentially ask for more or bigger.
It could potentially.
So my response,
I guess.
is that, as you and Carrie and I had conversations, that there are some possible potential big ticket items that are on our list that we need to prepare for if they come to eventuality. So I think when you think about that, the example of this building we're in right now, and this year, just as an example of the power outages, the fire emergencies, the wind damage, it's fortunate that insurance is covering majority of the wind damage, of all the wind damage issues, but the building needs like safety and security updates significantly, and we do not have the funds to do a lot of this work going forward. So that is concerning to myself. King Murphy is another example of a school that needs some major updating too. The other thing too is that if we can use some of the funding to offset our operational expenses, it would allow us then to help our compensation and benefits for staff.
That's the one palatable option to me. Now, I don't disagree that this building in King Murphy is King Murphy is in shambles, but we need to do some work in these buildings.
Right.
But at the same time, we do have the potential of OC selling. If we were to pass a bond and we
Correct.
sold OC, and we kind of look like crap. Like, oh, they sold OC and they've got all this money, and we've also given them a bond. But maybe if we sell OC, then we know more realistically what we need to ask for too. The timing is
Yeah.
awkward, but it's not 5 years out, it's just a year out.
Right.
I don't think you have the votes right now either, so.
Like I said, I think polling is the thing.
Would you want to discuss polling? Would you?
I think he has it within his expenditure rights to do that.
Is
Yeah,
it
it
a
is
cost to the
decision.
district, or how does that work?
There's a cost to the district. There are some recommendations that we take the polling out of the school district's coffer and have an outside way of doing it through private funding and so forth, because it helps with that polling process. So those are some things I'd like to pursue. I learned that today, that was recommendation that we don't use district funds to do it. Not because it's not a good use of funds, it's just that it helps with the process. And
Whose funds are we using?
it'd have to be an individual or a group of individuals that help fund it as a support of the district's endeavor to find out what the needs are and so forth. I can talk more about that
Yeah.
too. I do agree, polling is really vital right now, and the timing is coming up very quickly, so it's something we need to jump on very soon, because the timeline that Jen and I were presented starts like tomorrow.
Right.
And so we need to get going here, because there's some things they want to do in regards to the timeline between now and spring break, and the timeline between spring break and summer break. And those are such vital times to collect that information, to inform you as a board of where people feel about these issues and how they would vote for them if they were put on the ballot.
I keep coming back to, we gotta get the polling.
Okay.
And that wouldn't come out of our funds, the district's funds.
The recommendation is not, but if we can't, we could use, we could use district funds, but the recommendation is not to use district funds.
We could use capital funds for it.
You can use capital funds too, but again, that's district funds.
Yeah,
They're trying to
absolutely.
explain.
Is that something that would require a vote, using district funds?
Say it again.
Would that require a vote from the board to use district
If
funds
it's
for
in my
that?
discretionary amounts, it can be without, it could be, I could do that within my discretionary.
You have a very lovely PowerPoint on a lot of this stuff.
The other thing that's come up.
About it now, but it's in existence.
The other thing that's come up at the long range committee was not only, us looking at the bond for us and the levy override and, what are our options for operational offsets and
Right.
that sort of thing, but it's also come up with us presenting a bond for the ECE that we lease over there at Carlson now. And that's looking like $1 million that they're looking for, but that's been mentioned. I don't know.
That's true.
I don't know. I don't know enough about it, I guess, at this point to
What I can say about
specifically that piece.
but the ECE contract is very explicit and very clear that they are renting the space as is, where is. All of their construction is theirs. Anything and everything. to a degree, right? Like they put in the HVAC system, but Aaron maintains it.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of thing. But the contract's very clear that the $1 million is not our responsibility. But I also want an ECE. But at the same time, we have priorities too.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a lot going on. So I would appreciate knowing what your guys' feedback is on that so that I can at least let the group know what the direction is.
My feedback on that is if the contract says that, you know, they're covering $1 million our that's the contract, right? I mean, why would we, when we're scrambling to find money for our own, you know, priorities, if the contract says that they're covering the $1 million to renovate, why would we?
I think we're already spread thin enough
Right.
to take.
No,
on
I think
more.
that if there, an opportunity comes up that we can partner to help and it's our signature that helps them get that money or, you know, lobbying efforts or whatever, but they do have what, 1.6 right now? But, and we're close to the page turning on their plans and whatnot. So, I don't know if their intent is to go ahead and start construction with this money or wait until they get everything in the pot, but you know, ultimately Kelly and I were very proud of that contract because we always knew there would be at least $1 million in upgrades to our building.
I'm a little confused
Okay.
about what we're talking about right now. I know we're talking about EC, but how did we get here? I thought we were talking about long range planning committee.
So long range planning committee, one of the things that's been brought up there by the, you know, non-voting member and a couple of others is to proceed with looking at getting a bond for their construction.
For ECE's construction. A
Correct.
bond in addition to what we're looking at? Or like they would be together essentially?
We don't know what it looks like on
Okay.
all of that. It's just been proposed that they would like to see the potential of getting a bond for ECE.
And the question comes up, is it something the voters would approve if it's the topic of need in our community that we don't have an ECE program too? So
But at the same time, is it really, it's not our construction.
you're
Yeah,
correct.
it seems like the conversations we've had in the past about this, when it occurred, contract was signed and all that, that's what it was. It was their project, our building, their project. That's the way I understood it. I mean, we do need an ECE. I'm not, you know, saying that this community doesn't need that. That was just the way I understood it from the get-go.
Sure.
So how would, do we want the long range committee to continue doing their work with bond and mill levy efforts in the back of their mind while they're doing the methodic work? Or do we want them to continue slam, bam, scram as much as you can in scenario? And in hopes that if the polling comes back and you're at 99%, go for a bond. Let's be ready.
Or a levy.
Or a levy.
Don't sound like we really have a choice. We should be ready if the polls say.
That's what I say. If there's a way to be both ready,
We don't have time to like wait and see what the polls say.
No, we have to. I mean, that would be, we need the polling to know, I believe,
But
to
we
know
should,
whether or not we cram all this in, or if we let it organically grow as a group, you know, knowledge base.
So if we do the organic growth and the polling comes back saying yes, are we ready?
Well, that's my concern. How long will polling take?
Do we know by June?
It would take, we'd get information during a period of time. He does little windows of polling that run through June, and then that's when it pretty much ends in June.
I think you have to cram until you know what the polling says. Otherwise, the length of time that we have is already not enough.
Right.
So I think you just have to do it until.
Okay, so, but we want to focus on, if I'm hearing Wes correct, he keeps mentioning the mill levy.
Levy.
The levy,
whether it's a special mill
right,
or a debt-free levy. Those are two there's levy and then there's bond.
right. Okay. So we focus it on the things for the school, the district.
We can prioritize operational, offset the operational needs of our district, which Jennifer has already put those together as far as like what that would
Right,
entail. And that would be non-staffing.
And that would be bond.
That'd be levy, so
That would be levy.
we could focus on levy, whether it's a special mill levy or a debt-free levy, that would then offset the operational expenses of facilities, food service, technology, transportation, and then encapsulate those in offset with levy funds, that then we can free those funds up for compensation.
and this particular group on the long range like this idea. They
Correct.
really want to see something opened up operationally so that we can fund more operationally straight to the kiddos. So maybe that's our focus.
Are there time constraints on this? Like how long the levy work, like is active for?
You talking about the long range plan committee?
No,
No,
the
levy.
Yeah,
That's something for,
is that indefinitely?
this would be something we recommend as a member of the advisor for the long range plan committee, would be recommend to you, like, is it one that sunsets or is it ongoing?
Okay.
Sometimes you do sunset because you want to show the voters that you've accomplished what you said you were going to accomplish.
Mhm.
That risk is that you go once and then you say 10 years later, you're going to go for it again, or 5 years, or whatever the timeline is. They go, so we're done. Well, you're stuck with the bill
Mhm.
of maintaining the salaries and resources you have, and now it's ended.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm like, how are you going to ensure that that is?
I do
ensured?
think that that is the best option out of the options that we have. I don't think it brings us the most dollars, obviously,
No,
but it helps a lot. So
and maybe that gives us a chance to formulate a bond, as Marcia's pointing out, like there's maybe some history that maybe we need to spend more time diving into, like.
And just be, I think just the way to handle that is just be clear, really clear where the money's going, how much is going here.
Right.
And maybe the teacher pay could help us because we really don't have anywhere else to get money from.
and that's
You know?
exactly why I think this is the effort.
So
to work
it
on.
could go better than we're expecting because we're trying to do it more, for our buildings too, but also for teacher pay. And there's nowhere else for us to get the money. So maybe
Right.
they'll be more receptive.
The nice thing about a debt-free levy is a compromise in between the two, and is that you can do some capital improvements with those funds, as well as compensation and offsite operations. You can move things around to address all those things. You won't be able to do the big, large bond projects, but you can do some things like safety and security measures and so on.
And maybe that's just, like you said, a good compromise, it's not, we're not asking for the moon
And that
stars,
won't,
but
that won't entail this group to chew so much,
Right.
right? That's not the huge pie. That might be, that could work.
Yeah.
You feeling good with that?
I'm feeling comfortable that we have something to move forward with, because I am advocating for taking care of our facilities, making sure they're the best we can have for our students and staff to work in, but also making sure that we work at some measures, as we pointed out, is that we've got to figure out some way to move beyond the compensation situation we're in to help keep, so we can recruit and retain staff in our district. And that's a concern of mine, so I want to make sure we try to address that.
Yeah.
I have one more concern.
Sure.
If we shoot too big and people vote no, then they become more comfortable voting no in the future. And that's like another concern of mine that I want to make sure that
I think in this situation, shooting big would be shooting for the bond.
well,
I think we're kind of,
shooting for anything at this point, I think is kind of shooting big.
I don't think so, just because, and we've discussed this on the long range committee, that, the folks that are there are really, they're concerned about teachers.
Yeah.
Most of them. And they think that, this was a great thing because it could free up the operational dollars to get to the teachers. And this, I think, could be a PR moment that we had all of these options, but the only one we really wanted to look at was to be able to free up operations so we can pay our teachers more.
I just don't know what the public reception is gonna look like.
And that's better because it's for teachers than for.
Right. I feel very comfortable with that public perception.
I do too.
I was not comfortable with the bond perception.
And I think there are some operational things that we can address, like IT, like technology, things like that need to be, we're hearing from teachers that we need to improve our technology resources in the classroom. So by doing a levy, we can address those things. We can get the things they want to have in the classroom for the students and for the teachers to teach with. And so it frees up some of those things that right now we just don't have funds to do.
And it makes the teachers happy, which we want, you know, we're trying to
Absolutely.
give them what they need to do their jobs and also pay them well, so.
And our staff, we have bus drivers, people who take care of our buildings, people who fix our food for the students, all those different areas. We need to make sure we take care of them because they're essential for the lights coming on every day in our building.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of these things. What I'm saying is, what happens if it gets voted down? And then the community in general gets comfortable.
Well, I don't think that we're gonna push this forward unless the polling supports it, right? So we'll continue to do the work on the long range to get it as though we assume that we're going to go for that particular portion. And then once the polling comes back, it'll either kill us or excite us, and then we'll move accordingly, right?
So I will move forward, getting the polling done as soon as
Okay.
possible. And we will work with getting that information to you as soon as possible too, so you have a chance to like the long range plan committee look at it and the board look at it, try to get a sense of what we do next going forward and have this conversation again.
So I have one more. I would like, for your opinion as to whether or not we are asking the long range committee to review whether or not we should be closing a school. From my perspective, that's not what we're asking them to do. We're asking for the health and the safety of every building. And I would like to see that we're not going down a track of going off course, not.
I think that's off course. That's not even a conversation that we've had.
No,
And so I think, you know, should the board have that conversation in the future if we ever have to? Maybe at that point we would want their feedback, but until then, I don't think so,
okay.
in my opinion.
And
That comes from that slow, steady, like, let's look at all the buildings. let's
Right,
look at the skirt,
exactly.
Let's, yeah.
It's the Karate Kid moment right now. Yeah.
That's not in here right though, the charter has its reads right now, does it?
What's that?
Closing
Closing
schools.
schools.
No, not
Okay,
at all.
I was like,
No.
whoa, that caught me out of work, sorry.
It's been
I
looked
just
up a
want to
few
make
times.
sure, it's been brought up a couple of times at the meetings, and it's, you know, it's not something that we want out there in the community that we're even looking at, I don't think. That's the wrong thing for us to be getting out there. I appreciate every school in our district, and I have every intent of keeping every school open. So I appreciate your feedback on that.
Yeah, thank you.
So I think that might be.
Did you want to discuss tightening up enrollment task force, or has that conversation
I
been
just-
had and
I
they
think it's-
understand?
I just think it's important for all the committees to make sure they stay aligned to their charter. And when they're speaking on behalf of whatever the issue is, that they make sure that if it's a personal ad or if it's part of the charter, they clarify that, because we have things that are kind of spreading and they're saying they're part of a certain group. And I'm like, well, how does that play into athletics or?
Because there are committees that they can join for that.
There, it's help who's.
Yes. Or the SAC.
Yeah.
Some more staff members at the high school. All the buildings, yeah. Now can I move on to policy?
I guess.
All right. Did we have any additional feedback from the community? Okay. So these are just those, again, the CASB updates. Are there any questions or concerns, comments? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on. Okay. The purchasing authority policies.
I'll take that one. So Jen and I have been communicating for a few months. She had reached out, to let me know that what I already knew, that we had policies that were conflicting with policies. And so it was creating questions within the finance world, as well as the general admin world. One of the things that you see in the packet that we crafted is that we're both in agreement that if we go ahead and eliminate, if we can get some consensus on eliminating these GJCAR purchasing procedures, because that references a $10,000 threshold, and then we have another policy that has it between 10 and 20,000. And so we negate this and we box everything up into the other policies. So that's one consensus we would like to get from you guys, whether or not you're good with that. The other thing was whether or not you would like for us to go ahead and adapt what we drafted there with the whole construction sidearm, and that would be capital expenditures approvals, where if we've already passed a resolution with these capital projects passed for the year, then Aaron doesn't have to come to us for every $20,000, for a project kind of thing, that we've already approved it. And then there's parameters within that, right? Like if there's a change order, it has to come back to us within a certain threshold, or if, it's increased by 5%, then, those kinds of things, there's triggers there. But I think that, from a property manager point of view, you really hate having to go back to the board at every step, right? You just want to get your project done and the whole thing done. And that, I think it would stop progress. I think it stops his progress now. And that this could help him, accomplish the goals that we've already said, go get done. So that would be the other consensus. And then we'd like your opinion on those. We'll take those opinions and we'll craft the rest of it and button up the rest of it together and then re-present it. Is that about right, Jim?
That sounds about right.
So if we want to start with the consensus of
The elimination.
The elimination.
GJCA.
So just get rid of it totally, not the red lines that are on there.
Yeah. It has that $10,000 threshold, and then we have the other policy there that has the 10 to 1999. So one or the other has to go.
I'm fine with it.
I feel like with you both aligned, you have been shoulder deep in it. I think I'm comfortable with that. I was gonna say me, I at least elevated your shoulder.
How are you feeling about that, Sydney?
I am not an expert on contracts, or all these other things that it sounds like you kind of know what you're doing, so.
I referenced many other school districts, maybe
Yeah.
10, and I couldn't find a similar policy on most of them. It
Right.
feels like it was fit into.
You mean like
Maybe
ours is redundant?
And well, it conflicts, literally conflicts.
Conflicts and there is redundancy where adding it into a sentence or two to some of the other existing policies.
Right. Right. So then the other thing would be whether or not you are okay with or agree with or don't agree with the whole idea that you see on the flow chart there, where it shows the capital expenditures and the questions that go there. But it would require us to pass a resolution that outlines all of Aaron's capital projects for, let's say, the next 6 months or whatever. We can pass another one later.
Yeah.
But those are those are the projects and the money that he can spend without continually coming back to us and getting contract approvals and all that other thing. But I think that could help him so much, you guys.
I like it.
Yeah. I think if we have those triggers in place,
Right, yeah, I think so too,
I think those are
stop
necessary.
gaps. Yeah.
Not that I don't trust Erin, more just let's have a good solid policy in place.
Yeah.
But if we have, some careful triggers like not to exceed or percent increases, guidelines, I would be comfortable with that.
And I guess we should sit down and ask Erin.
Yeah, I think now at a board meeting, it's all discussed, laid out, and then goes to bid, gets the contract,
I know.
comes back a month later, presents it again.
It's a lot
And
of
it's-
tracking.
And it can slow down, especially when certain projects do need to be addressed with like a sense of urgency.
Right, right. So we have consensus on that as well?
Yeah.
So Jen, you and I should get together in the next few days and just button up the rest of this for a presentation?
Okay.
Okay, that sounds good. I'll get with you on when you're available. We'll try to make that happen. Do you ever come to Georgetown?
To the park on
I
occasion.
was gonna say, we let the kiddos run around.
I can definitely come to Georgetown.
I want to thank you both very much for your time spent on this. Honestly, this is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I was in a meeting with Jen the other day. I was like, what do you need from me? Because this is a lot.
Most of the time I'm like, Lori, can you just check me one more time? Can you triple check me? And
Well, I
then trace it
know.
out and then like, wait.
I had
think there's
people reading it for me through that, and then of course, freaking Wes, he comes up with a wrench, like, we haven't even looked at it yet, and he's like, well, what about insurance?
Because it happens, windstorms happen. I do have a question for you all. What is professional services?
We are deeper defining that,
Okay,
and we'll make it very specific.
thank you.
Yes, professional services are not maintenance services. just so you know.
Okay, thank you.
In my world, they usually got a very expensive certification.
Or licensing,
Yes,
usually
yes,
it's tied to
yeah.
something like that. Yeah, absolutely. Where are we at? I feel like I'm done.
It is.
Oh, Nick, move to adjourn.
I'll second.
Pierce,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Lynch,
Yes,
thank you.
Yes,
yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody.
That's a lot of covered.
I needed so much of this.